want to put a great example of what the game is for the fans and the young people that come and watch. Like, I think that's really important, and I take that seriously. So hopefully we do that in a decent manner. I think we can continue to improve as we move forward.
Really? That's the effort we're getting? That's the effort y'all are going to give the fans that paid nearly $400 for a ticket? That's the embarrassing, piss poor effort y'all are going to give them in an All-Star game. At this game, cancel the All-Star game. At this rate, cancel the All-Star game, name people All-Stars, mail them an award, and keep the regular season going. This is trash.
Welcome to the Clark Update. Today's WNBA story is making headlines everywhere. Caitlin Clark's comments after the All-Star game have sparked a huge debate among fans and the basketball world. Let's break down everything you need to know. Let's jump right into the video. Let's go.
Caitlin Clark is the only one over there that is thinking consumer first, and that is the problem with this league. They are not thinking about the fans at all. They're not thinking about these fans at all.
Wilson getting the
Mind you, Asia really blocked Angel without even meaning to, crying. No, Asia Wilson let her do that. She let her do that.
All right. The WNBA is in complete chaos. And this time, Caitlin Clark is right at the center of it. After fans paid hundreds of dollars expecting an unforgettable All-Star spectacle, many walked away asking the same explosive question. Did the league just sell them a show that never truly delivered? Now, Caitlin Clark has finally spoken about the pressure, the criticism, and the false narrative surrounding her, and her words are sending shockwaves across women's basketball. But did she really accuse WNBA players of scamming the fans, or is the internet twisting the story again? Because once you see what actually happened, the truth may be even more controversial than the headline. The final buzzer sounded. Team Spoon had secured a 129-122 victory, and the official celebration began. But outside the arena, a completely different contest was already taking place. Fans were debating the effort. Commentators were questioning the entertainment value. Social media was filling with accusations that people had paid premium prices for a game that sometimes looked more like a casual exhibition than a battle between the greatest players in women's basketball. And standing at the center of the entire conversation, whether she wanted to be there or not, was Caitlin Clark. If you're enjoying this video, please take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it helps us create more videos like this. Surprisingly, over 80% of our viewers still haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, now's the perfect time to join our community. Already subscribed? Thank you, we truly appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to the video. So today, we are separating the verified facts from the viral headlines. And the real story may be even more important than the exaggerated one. The expectations entering the 2026 WNBA All-Star Game were enormous. The event was held at the United Center in Chicago, one of the largest and most recognizable basketball arenas in the country. Ticket demand climbed dramatically as the game approached. According to reporting published before tip-off, the lowest available ticket price reportedly rose from approximately $74 in June to more than $340 shortly before the event. For many families, that was not casual entertainment money. That was a serious investment. When fans pay that much, they are not simply purchasing access to a building. They are purchasing anticipation. They are buying the possibility of seeing something unforgettable. They want the stars competing, the crowd reacting, and the players creating the kind of moment people will still be discussing years later. And for several minutes, Caitlin Clark appeared determined to give them exactly that. Clark scored 11 of Team Spoon's first 13 points, immediately bringing energy to the game. She attacked from long distance, knocked down 5 three-pointers, and finished with 17 points and 5 assists. Her Indiana Fever teammate Kelsey Mitchell was even more explosive, scoring a game-high 28 points for Team Co-op Team Spoon, ultimately won 129-122, while Jonquel Jones captured MVP honors with 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists. Those are not disappointing numbers. The scoreboard was active, the stars made shots, and several players produced impressive individual performances. So why did anyone feel disappointed? Because statistics do not always tell viewers how a game felt. All-Star basketball has always contained an uncomfortable contradiction. Fans want entertainment, spectacular passes, and open-floor highlights. Players want to enjoy the weekend, protect their bodies, and avoid suffering an injury in a game that does not affect the regular season standings. But those same fans also want competition. They do not want to watch defenders completely step aside. They do not want every possession to resemble a warm-up drill. And when ticket prices reach several $100s, that desire for genuine effort becomes even stronger. That is where the word scammed entered the online conversation. Not necessarily as a literal accusation of fraud, and not as a verified Caitlin Clark quotation, but as an emotional description of the gap between what some fans expected and what they believed they received. Imagine being a parent who purchased multiple tickets, add parking, food, transportation, and merchandise, and the total cost of one evening could become substantial. Your children may have spent weeks talking about seeing Clark, Aya Wilson, Paige Buckers, Brianna Stewart, Angel Reese, Kelsey Mitchell, and the rest of the league's biggest names on one court. Naturally, you would expect highlights. But would you also expect defense? Would you expect fourth-quarter urgency? Would you expect the athletes to treat the final minutes as something more meaningful than an organized showcase? That is the debate now dividing the audience. One group argues that critics are taking the event far too seriously. The All-Star game is an exhibition. The players already compete through a demanding professional season, travel constantly, and absorb physical contact night after night. Asking them to risk an injury for a game that does not count toward the standings may be unrealistic. From this perspective, the event is supposed to celebrate personalities and talent, not reproduce the intensity of the playoffs. The other group responds with a simple argument. Then the event should not be marketed and priced like a major competitive spectacle. That is the real pressure point. A league cannot aggressively promote rivalries, superstars, and dramatic matchups, benefit from rising ticket demand, and then act surprised when viewers expect visible effort. Marketing creates expectations. Expectations create financial value. And once supporters spend their money, they feel entitled to evaluate whether the product delivered on its promise. This is bigger than one game and much bigger than one player. The WNBA is experiencing a period of enormous growth, increased investment, and intense public attention. But greater attention also produces greater scrutiny. Every decision is now examined more closely. Officiating controversies become national stories. Player disagreements spread instantly across social media. Questions involving race, gender, safety, and representation frequently become mixed with ordinary basketball analysis, creating an environment where almost every discussion becomes emotionally charged. And nobody experiences that pressure more intensely than Caitlin Clark. Clark recently addressed the way she is portrayed in the media, saying there is sometimes a false characterization of who she is. She argued that commentators should not make accusations about her character without knowing her personally. She described the constant scrutiny as emotionally exhausting and draining. Those are the comments Clark has actually made. Not a confirmed attack on All-Star teammates for supposedly scamming fans. That distinction matters. Clark has repeatedly become the subject of stories built around what other people believe she must be thinking. When she remains quiet, people interpret the silence. When she shows emotion, they create a larger narrative. When she argues with an official, some call it passion, while others call it disrespect. When an opponent plays her physically, one side calls a basketball, and another side calls a targeted hostility. She rarely receives the luxury of experiencing an ordinary basketball moment. Everything surrounding her becomes symbolic. But Clark has also demonstrated that she understands the responsibility attached to her platform. Earlier in July, after abusive messages and harassment were directed toward WNBA players, coaches, and opponents, she publicly condemned the hatred. She made clear that people should not use her name as justification for abusing others. That response is important because it challenges the popular internet narrative that Clark is constantly trying to fight the rest of the league. Competition does not require personal hatred. Criticism does not require harassment. And supporting one athlete does not require attacking another. That may be the most important lesson hidden inside this All-Star controversy. Fans have every right to debate effort. They can question ticket prices. They can say a game was entertaining, disappointing, or somewhere in between. They can argue that the league should change the format. But criticism should remain connected to the product on the court. Once the discussion turns into personal abuse, racial insults, threats, or invented quotations, everyone loses credibility. That includes the people defending Clark and the people criticizing her. Still, the WNBA cannot dismiss the frustration entirely. Fans are not merely background noise. They are the reason television contracts grow, sponsorships increase, merchandise sells, and larger arenas become possible. The relationship between professional athletes and supporters is not ownership, but it is an exchange. Players provide talent and entertainment. Fans provide attention, emotion, and money. When that exchange feels unbalanced, trust begins to weaken. The solution is not to demand playoff-level physicality in an exhibition game. The solution is to build an all-star format that naturally produces meaningful competition without creating unreasonable injury risk. The league could introduce quarter-by-quarter prize incentives, with money directed toward charities selected by the players. It could reset the score before the final period, creating a short competitive finish regardless of what happened earlier. It could expand the skills events, add creative team challenges, or give supporters more influence over specific matchups they want to see. Most importantly, the WNBA could communicate more honestly about what the All-Star game is supposed to be. Is it primarily a celebration? Is it a serious competition? Is it a television entertainment product? Or is it supposed to combine all three? When the league defines that identity clearly, fans can make informed decisions before purchasing expensive tickets. Confusion creates disappointment. Clear expectations create satisfaction. And despite the backlash, there were many moments worth celebrating in Chicago. Jonquel Jones delivered an emotional MVP performance and dedicated the honor to her late aunt. She nearly recorded only the second triple-double in WNBA All-Star history, completing her remarkable stat line in just 22 minutes. Clark provided the early spark for Team Spoon. Mitchell produced the highest scoring total of the night. The winning team supported a charity serving young female athletes, while the event brought many of the league's best players together on one stage. Those moments deserve recognition. But recognizing the positive moments does not require pretending every criticism is invalid. The league is now operating in a different world than it was several years ago. More viewers are watching. More people are paying attention. More money is involved. And with that growth comes a standard that extends beyond simply being grateful that the event exists. Fans now compare the WNBA's presentation with every other major professional sports product. They notice camera angles, commentary, arena atmosphere, scheduling, officiating, and competitive intensity. That comparison may sometimes feel unfair, but it is also evidence of progress. People are no longer treating the league as a niche curiosity. They are treating it like major professional sports. Major professional sports receive major professional scrutiny. Caitlin Clark's presence accelerates that process because she brings a massive audience wherever she goes. But the league's future cannot depend on Clark alone. It must use the attention surrounding her to elevate the complete product, introduce audiences to other stars, and create experiences that remain valuable regardless of which individual player is dominating the headlines. Jones showed why she deserves greater recognition. Mitchell reminded viewers that she can score against anyone. Booker's represents another generation of star power. Wilson remains one of the defining players of this era. Stewart, Reese, Boston, and the rest of the All-Star roster each bring different audiences, personalities, and styles. The WNBA's greatest opportunity is not choosing between Caitlin Clark and everyone else. It is building an environment where Clark's popularity introduces millions of people to the complete depth of the league. But that requires trust. Fans must trust that injuries will be communicated honestly. Players must trust that the league will protect them. Officials must be held to a consistent standard. And viewers must trust that premium-priced events will provide premium entertainment. So, were the fans actually scammed? Legally and literally, that is far too strong. An All-Star exhibition was advertised, and an All-Star exhibition was played. Team Spoon won. The audience saw many of the league's biggest names, and several players produced excellent performances. But emotionally, some supporters clearly felt a disconnect between the price of admission and the competitive intensity they expected. Both things can be true. The game can contain impressive individual performances and still leave some viewers wanting more. The players can deserve protection from injury, while fans deserve value for their money. The league can celebrate historic growth while still accepting criticism about its presentation. And Caitlin Clark can remain the center of the conversation without being falsely credited with words she never publicly said. That final point may be the most important. In the current sports media environment, the most dramatic headline frequently travels farther than the verified story. A quotation does not need to be real before millions of people begin reacting to it. Once the claim matches what an audience already believes, it spreads almost automatically. Clark supporters may be prepared to believe she secretly shares their frustration. Her critics may be prepared to believe she attacked her fellow players. Content creators know that both reactions generate clicks. But responsible coverage should not tell viewers what they want to hear. It should tell them what can actually be supported. The confirmed story is already compelling enough. Ticket prices climbed dramatically. Expectations were enormous. Clark began the game aggressively and finished with 17 points. Jones delivered an MVP performance. Team Spoon won 1-29 to 1-22. Some supporters questioned the competitive intensity and overall value. And Clark has genuinely spoken about the emotional burden of false narratives and media characterizations. That is not a boring story. It is a story about a league growing so quickly that it is still learning how to manage the expectations attached to its new popularity. It is about athletes trying to balance entertainment, competition, and personal health. It is about supporters realizing that their attention now carries real economic power. And it is about Caitlin Clark discovering that silence does not prevent people from speaking on her behalf. The WNBA has reached a defining moment. It can dismiss every complaint as negativity, or it can recognize criticism as evidence that supporters care deeply about the product. It can allow exaggerated narratives to dominate the conversation, or it can communicate directly and consistently. It can treat All-Star Weekend as a routine obligation, or transform it into an event that fans genuinely cannot afford to miss. Because the audience is already present. The stars are already present. The attention is already present. Now the challenge is turning that attention into long-term trust. So now we want to hear from you. Did the 2026 WNBA All-Star Game deliver enough entertainment for the price fans paid? Should exhibition games remain relaxed and focused on fun? Or should players compete with greater intensity when supporters are paying hundreds of dollars to attend? And do you believe Caitlin Clark receives fair coverage? Or have exaggerated headlines made it nearly impossible to separate the real person from the public narrative? Share your opinion respectfully in the comments. And remember, support your favorite players, debate the basketball, and challenge the league when necessary. But never allow sports rivalry to become personal hatred. For more fact-based WNBA coverage, breaking developments, and the stories behind the headlines, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because in this new era of women's basketball, the loudest story is not always the most accurate one. And the truth is usually far more interesting. Thank you so much for watching our video.